Are you fascinated by the paranormal and want to hear about encounters that have happened to real-life people in real-life places? Do you need a drink to calm those nerves after hearing some scary stories?
You're listening to Booze and Bourbon.
Well, we invite you to grab a drink, whether it's a coffee or something with a little bit more spirit in it. Grab a blanket, snuggle in, because I'm Kim and that's Jen, and we're Booze and Bourbon.
Welcome back, all of our lovely friends, followers, listeners, ghost friends, bourbon friends, just all of our friends. It's Jen here, and Kim.
Wow, that was a wicked intro, Jen. How are you?
Good, I think the bourbon really helped me out here today. It's just bringing me right around.
I love it. I need something to bring me around.
Oh, do you?
Yes, I do. I feel it's time for a bourbon.
There you go.
I've already put a little bit in my cup. I will do a proper intro of what I'm drinking in a few moments, but I'm going to have a sip right now.
Please do. Join me.
It's tasty. It's so tasty. So, Jen, how are you this week?
Well, I've learned that I am not a landscaper, nor should I be one. However, I know that my neighbors witnessed and heard a lot of swearing over the 6-hour period it took me to, I want to say, cleanse the back gardens of the Satan weeds that don't want to let go of the ground.
They're probably entangled with Satan himself into the crusty core of the earth, right?
I love that you said entangled. Yes, they're in an entanglement, the ground and the weeds.
Yeah. I do also have some weed issues myself. I also have some lawn mowing issues where Ryan works so much and where I seem to be not home so much anymore and working extra. I got my brother's company to come and mow the lawn, and let me tell you, it is the best thing since sliced bread. I don't know why I didn't do this sooner.
Right? Now I know why it's so much worth it to pay, to actually hire someone to do these things.
Yeah. And I mean, if they're doing it, they probably enjoy doing it. Whereas I don't so much. I do enjoy gardening. I don't so much enjoy weeding and mowing the lawn or whippersnipping. We've got a really cool episode today, which is called Ghosts of the Deep. And it's all about haunted mines. And our bourbon for today is not bourbon at all. It's a bourbon fraud. It's called Bernheim Original. And it's Kentucky straight wheat whiskey. But it's made by Heaven Hill. So it might look and taste a little like bourbon, but it's not bourbon. It was the first wheat whiskey to hit the market in the USA. It is a straight wheat whiskey and shares with bourbon and aging, a minimum of 2 years, in newly charred oak barrels and cannot contain flavoring or coloring agents. But Bernheim Original, like I said, owned by Heaven Hill Distilleries, is made primarily from soft winter wheat aged at least 7 years and is bottled in batches containing no more than 100 barrels. That's why it has a small batch designation. And Bernheim's mash bill contains at least 51% wheat, with the remainder being corn and a small amount of barley, whereas bourbon has to be at least 51% corn with rye or barley or other wheat mixed in with it. So it's kind of cool. Jen, I'll let you determine what the scent is on this one.
Sniff it out. Just like what my garden's going to be. It's kind of floral and fruity with a nice little blend of toasted nuts and some freshly made bread or dough.
I'm smelling it right now. I get all that, and I also get some honey. It's delish. I'm definitely getting cherry. I see what you mean with the fruitiness. I get some orange in there. But definitely I'm still getting that lingering honey and the sweetness. Definitely brown sugar too. And I'd say a little smokiness, but not a lot.
Okay. I mean, I wish that I had gotten a bottle myself.
Yeah, well, you're just gonna have to have some more of it when you come here.
Yes.
We picked it out together. I mean, that's a thing, right?
Yes, it is. Yes, that counts. We'll go with that.
Okay, so now that I have a warm whiskey pocket,
yes,
I want to play a little game. Do you?
Absolutely.
Okay. Do you want me to go first, or do you want to go first?
I mean, you can go first. Go for it.
Okay. All right. So, given the theme today, we're talking about ghosts of the deep. I wanted to know if you had to go on a blind date with a guy who was going to take you to his workplace, would you rather it be a man that worked in a coal mine but found a piece of gold, or would you rather him work in a gold mine and never find gold, but mostly just find coal?
I mean, I'm going to go with the gold bar. I'm just going to be one of those people. I'm just going to be, yeah.
So he's going to be covered in like black soot and coal, but find gold for you.
Yes.
You like a hardworking man. Okay.
I have a very angry miner beside me.
He is angry.
Absolutely. So would you rather spend the evening by yourself in a potentially haunted mine? It's not for sure, but it could be.
Okay.
Or would you rather spend the night in a also potentially haunted sanatorium?
Yeah, that's a really tough one. And either way, it's going to be dark because I'm spending the night.
Yes. One
feel
potentially has
like-
windows.
True. And at least you're exposed to the elements. Whereas when you're in a mine, you don't really get like a whole lot of fresh air. You don't get to see the sunlight at all. And I think that noises from the depths of the mines can really fuck with you.
Yeah. I mean, it'd be a little dank, a little.
Yeah.
I'd be more with the bug situation, I guess, would be my thing.
Ooh. Yes.
Bugs.
Now, if I could go into the mine with one of the little Shetland ponies that they had back in the day for mining, I would totally do that. But I have a feeling that's not an option. So in this case, I'm going to go with the sanatorium. Not that I really think it's a great option, but it's the option that I think might be a touch better.
Great call. Great call.
Yeah. All right. So, guys, just after the break, we're going to get into some crazy stories about ghosts of the deep, aka haunted mines. Make sure you stay tuned.
Welcome back, everybody. We're going to hop right into some super creepy stories and tales from the mines, if you will. We as humans have had this long-standing allure of gold. It's the great search for Mother Earth's bounty, the one element that makes men turn against one another and enhances greed. Natives of North America understood how dangerous gold was, the wars it would start, and quite frankly, they wanted nothing to do with it. It wasn't of importance to them. But today, people are still digging for this elusive element, and we can only hope that they are digging in much more safe conditions with many more restrictions in place.
Success has come to many in the mining industries around here in Nova Scotia. We mine for gold and we mine for coal as well. And we're going to cover some stories from other parts of the nation, but we'll also cover one place in particular that's here in Nova Scotia. It has seen its fair share of despair. With success in the mining industry, you also have to have distress and disaster. Death has come knocking on families' doors far too often. Many children and wives are left behind to mourn loved ones who were lost in accidents underground. Just imagine how scary it would be to work in complete darkness, so many hundreds of feet below the earth. It's damp, cold, and sometimes, like what you said, Jen, it's even wet. So you might as well be dead if blackness is all you saw from the moment you stepped into the mine and when you left at the end of your shift. All you saw was darkness from the night. Eek.
Not my cup of tea, but anyway, from Calico, California. I'm going to leave my accent behind. I'm not sure why I just brought that on.
It just crept out of nowhere.
Just came out. Maggie Mine and the surrounding area are said to be bursting with paranormal activity. Self-guided tours of the purportedly haunted mine whisk you back in time to the 19th century when the Malkai brothers searched for silver there. If a tour of Maggie Mine doesn't give you the creeps, then be sure to visit the Ghost Town Cemetery close by, where, according to reports, there are more grave markers than bodies. So that begs the question, why?
Interesting. Okay. Well, there's also Tonopah, Nevada. Tonopah, Nevada isn't your typical vacation destination. It's a ghost town, once bustling with silver miners. It draws travelers who want to step back into time and perhaps experience a fright or two. Guests at the 5-story Mizpah Hotel could be in for a particularly spirited stay. The hotel's permanent guests are ghosts, including one known as the Lady in Red. A naive and relatively inexperienced member of the world's oldest profession, according to the 2015 book Ghosts of Goldfield and Tonopah, Lady in Red was strangled by a jealous lover on the hotel's 5th floor. Her spirit is said to shake the chandeliers and leave pearls in the rooms, according to the Wall Street Journal.
She could leave me pearls. I mean, I don't mind that gift. Go right ahead for that. That's great.
For sure.
So now on to Idaho Springs, Colorado. The Phoenix gold mine, discovered in the 1870s, may have been abandoned by humans, but visitors claim spirits still inhabit the space. The remains of 2 people are buried inside, including a witch who is said to have practiced black magic. Also, some people report hearing the voices of 2 men who were supposedly murdered nearby. The Phoenix gold mine is so eerie that the crew from the TV show Ghost Adventures trekked deeply inside and encountered a tiny malicious spirit called a Tommyknocker. According to folklore, Tommyknockers can be both good and bad. Some miners used to believe that Tommyknockers would knock or hammer on mine walls to lead them to gold, while others believe the knocking sounds will lead them to certain death. Today, you can tour the Phoenix gold mine and even pan for gold if you dare. While ghost hunters didn't conclusively uncover any phantoms, Jimmy Johnson, a former employee of the museum, claims that during his 8 years working there, 2 male spirits and 2 female spirits regularly came in contact with him.
I like that.
Yes.
Okay. Now we're going to go on to the Crescent Mine, which is in Sumter, Oregon. Visitors to the Crescent Mine get to enjoy a golden opportunity of a different kind. They get to have the pants scared right off of them. Ghost Mine, a TV show which featured Kristen Luman from the new Ghost Hunters reboot, was on the Sci-Fi Network and featured a 2-episode investigation of the haunted Crescent Mine by the show's 2 in-house paranormal experts and several miners. Among their discoveries was a spirit named Joe. Aside from its paranormal presence, the mine is said to contain plenty of unmined gold. Let's get a little more into the story of the haunted Crescent Mine. Larry Overman and his wife Stacy bought the mine back in late 2009, not knowing at the time that it would soon become the center of a paranormal extravaganza. Larry says that having anything to do with the paranormal was the furthest thing from his mind when he bought the place. "We bought the place with the goal of reopening it and producing gold," he said. "We're just like anyone else in gold mining. We want to make money from it. But the Crescent Mine has a long history attached to it, and there are those who believe that it could be haunted." That's where paranormal investigators Patrick Doyle and Kristen Luman came in. The 2 were looking for sights and sounds coming from inside the mine and attempted to figure out what exactly was going on. For the Overmans, the mine is the first and foremost a business, and they said in the beginning they were a little skeptical about talk that it was haunted. But the 2 are beginning to believe that perhaps there is something strange going on in there. Stacy described what happened during one of the first times inside of the mine. "We were about 2,000 feet into the mine and were expecting people to show up on the mountain about an hour later," she said. "And I said, 'Larry, do you hear that?' And we stopped to listen because we were walking through and slushing mud and stuff, and there was a long conversation from 2 men. We couldn't tell what they were saying, but that was my first experience. I was like, wow, there's a conversation going on in there. I actually chalked it up to the people that were meeting us, and I thought they must be early," she added. "So we turned around and walked all the way back out, and there was no one on the mountain at all. That happened to us a few times. I really didn't pay attention to ghost hunting or anything like that at all until after season 1 of Ghost Mine hit the air," said Larry. "The stuff out here at the mine, I would chalk it up to echoes or the earth moving," he said. My theory is that most miners' theories are that if you don't hear the ground talking to you, there's something wrong. That means the fault zones are aligned and something big is getting ready to happen. A lot of guys can predict small earthquakes because the ground quits making noise. Could be speculative, or it could actually be a haunting. According to the book Haunted Oregon, shadow figures, strange EVPs, and cold spots are some of the anomalies that have been spotted in the mine. One EVP that was shared of a man with a Chinese accent declared, "I'm lost." Also, there have been a lot of equipment malfunctions for no apparent reason, and items have been known to mysteriously disappear. There's a place within the mine called the ballroom where time is allegedly warped. As in, you might think you've only been in there for a few minutes, but it turns out that actually hours have passed. This place is also known to have Tommy knockers, which this site says are goblins or sprites who live deep within the tunnel walls. And it should also be mentioned that there's a lot of superstitions surrounding the miners and what not to do. It's believed that if a worker whistles in the mine, it drives the good spirits away and calls the attention of the lesser spirits, aka the evil spirits, to lurk underground. Our last story, and the one that you get to cover, Jen, is obviously a bit of a personal one because it surrounds our new ghost hunting team. And it's the crew from Haunted. And last year in June, they visited the Glace Bay Miners Museum in Cape Breton, Nova Scotia. And our local newspaper here in Nova Scotia called the Chronicle Herald did an article about their visit there.
Just down here from Glace Bay, Nova Scotia.
Wow.
I'm going to drop the accent again. I just needed to pick it up for a second there. It's not every day you get invited to the set of a TV show, especially one that feeds a guilty pleasure. I've been long a fan of paranormal shows, Ghost Hunters, Paranormal State, A Haunting, Ghost Adventures, the list goes on. For the most part, these shows are like potato chips, not at all good for me, but highly addictive. And yeah, I do know better. I tend to be a skeptical person who can find a probable logical cause for everything, yet these stories are just so intriguing. Paul Kimball can tell a lot of stories. He's the host, writer, and director of Haunted, an Eastlink show that's currently shooting in Cape Breton for their upcoming fall season. One of their locations is the Cape Breton Miners Museum, and that's where I went to find out what they do. It's a gloriously hot, sunny June day. It's not a day that makes you think of the paranormal, but once you're inside the Cape Breton Miners Museum, the mood does change. Mary Pat Maubricat admits she didn't know what to think when she started working there 6 years ago. Seated at her desk in a bright, modern office, bathed by warm sunlight, cuddling Lucille, an adorable 4-month-old toy poodle, the museum's executive director says she initially ignored the strange sounds and events that were taking place around her, but they wouldn't go away. I used to hear footsteps on the stairs all the time in the winter. There's just me here. There's nobody else in the building. You'd hear doors slamming. This winter, one time I heard a man sneeze. I'm alone in the building. The place is locked. So I'm thinking a couple of the guides have keys. I've never heard a ghost sneeze before, so I'm running around downstairs to find out who's in the building. But there was nobody in the building.
Sneeze.
Yeah.
Ghost sneeze.
It's a new one. Museum guide Eric Spencer has been leading tours at the museum for more than a decade. Part of his duties is leading gangs of visitors into the museum's Ocean Deeps Colliery, a dark, wet, and bone-chilling experience even on the warmest summer day. As far as he's concerned, the place with the most activity within the facility is ominously known as the Cage. Tucked away in one of the darker corners of the museum, far away from visitors, it's a small, enclosed area covered with chicken wire that allows you to see what's inside. Shelves are lined with mining artifacts donated to the museum, and some of which aren't in the best of shape. One shelf holds mining helmets, some distorted and damaged by mining events. They're too unsettling to display in the museum, especially when you consider they were once nestled on someone's head.
Oh, yeah.
Right? It was once heard in this area, near a box of old newspapers, a voice saying 10. When he picked up an old copy of the Cape Breton Post from that box, the main headline on the page stated 10 miners had been killed in a mining accident. Looking decades younger than his 81 years, former coal miner and museum tour guide Abby Michalik talks about his 26 years working underground as cameras film him. Because he lives nearby, he was once asked to check on the museum after an alarm went off one night. I came down. When I opened the door, I went down to the cage where all the artifacts are. Old hats from men who got killed in the pit. and I could hear people talking in the back, said Michalik. And I was the only one there. I hollered down, is anybody there? Nobody answered. Then I started walking towards them, and when I was handy to them, it, or the voices, would stop. Then I would go back up. It would start again. I witnessed that myself. While he loves his job working as a tour guide, Michalik acknowledges that there's something odd at the museum. They're here, let me tell you. They're here.
Interesting. Also inside of this area is the Company House, which is located within the Cape Breton Miners Museum. And it's furnished in the more Spartan style of the past. And although it's utilitarian, each sturdy item is beautiful in its own hand-hewn way. Sitting at a table with Stevens, it seems to be as good a place as any to hold a ghost box session. Ghost boxes are devices that scan through AM and FM frequencies, usually spewing gobs of white noise. Once in a while, you'll hear a voice or a word, which is considered unusual, and in the right circumstances can even seem significant. It's believed by some that entities can use the device to create words or sometimes even sentences. Later that evening, Kimball said the ghost box supplied one more substantial answer when we questioned within the cage area. Here's the exchange. Question: did you used to work in the mine? Answer: yes, I did. Question: where are you from? Answer: Cape Breton. Love it.
Creepy.
So creepy. So what do you think about haunted mines, Jen? Do you think it's a thing?
I mean, I'm all for a good time, but I don't know about a mine. Oh, that rhymed.
I thought you were trying to make it rhyme.
No. Yeah, I don't mind the dark, but it's something about the dark and then the dirt and then like being really below the ground. And again, it's just like the bugs and the rodents. Like I'm just not a good person when it comes to like, spiders and stuff, rats maybe.
Gotcha. So you believe that they're haunted. You just don't believe that if you were a ghost, you'd want to go there and haunt the place.
No, I'd probably go to the museum instead. Yes. There's lots more people there. You have more interaction. It's drier,
You could potentially pick on tourists.
Right. Yeah. That would totally be my scene.
Okay. All right. Well, I have to agree. I definitely think mines can be haunted. If I was a ghost, I wouldn't want to hang out there. But I guess just because of like that dark, dank, wet environment, maybe it's really good for conducting energy. And maybe that's why there are lots of mines that seem like they're active.
That's true.
Well, guys, that pretty much concludes our storytelling for today. Hope you enjoyed that episode. Wanted to do something a little bit different and not just particularly one place. So if you like that, or if you know somebody who works in a mine and they have some creepy stories, please send us your emails. Send them to boozeandbourbon, BOOSAND, bourbon@gmail.com. And you can also find us on social media. Jen, where can people find us?
We are fabulous on Instagram.
Wow.
And not our name, but we are fabulous. But Booze and Bourbon on Instagram. Booze and Bourbon, the podcast.
Fabulous.
Oh, well, thanks. You too. Booze and Bourbon, the podcast on Facebook. Of course, you can listen to us on any place that plays podcasts, really. And of course, give us a rave review. You could also join us and be very cool as a Patreon. And we would also enjoy that as well, because then we send you, little occasional gifts and videos and things.
Stickers, magnet, handwritten letters.
Yes.
Like, can you imagine getting a handwritten letter?
No one gets those anymore. It's very personalized.
We're going to take you back into time with a handwritten letter.
Attached with an air hug. Yes.
There you go. Exactly. Yeah, so guys, we will be back for an all-new episode next Friday. But like I said earlier, if you have any cool stories, if you know of anybody who worked in a mine, or if you want to give us a would you rather question, please send us an email, or you can send us a direct message on Facebook or on Instagram, and we will certainly respond to you.
Thanks very much, guys.
Bye.
Booze and Bourbon is part of the ABV network. For more information or to advertise on the show, please head over to abvnetwork.com. Thanks for listening, and cheers.
This has been a Steve Akeley production.